What do we have here? Yeah. No limits, baby.
What does this say? 55? The audacity! No limits, baby!
200 over 107. No limits, baby. New record. Okay, let's check in this month. Let's check that out. 6'7". Yes! Another 9 inches in my 40s. No limits, baby. No limits, baby. New record. Okay, guys, so before we really get started, I have a confession to make. I'm not 6'7". I'm not even close. I'm not even 6 foot, and that doesn't really matter. But I don't think I'm going to get to that goal of no limits on my height this year. I did hit a limit on my weight a couple of years ago, and we're trying to bring that down and fix that. But we'll talk about that another time. We know that there are limits that exist in our physical nature, and that we just kind of have to accept and get over them. Now, they don't have to limit a lot our choices that we're going to make in life or what we're going to make of ourselves. But let's face it, if you're not even 5 foot tall and you weigh about 80 pounds and you're 30, you're probably not going to be the next star of the NBA, let alone really dominate the middle school backyard Nerf set. But probably more powerful than your finances or your physical or, obeying the speed limit or some of those limits that are set for our health is this idea that we actually can limit the impact and the output of our life based on how we think. And so having a limited mindset is something that we really need to be aware of. How are we limiting ourselves with what we believe and what we value about ourselves and what we think we are capable of? So our limits are really expectations of future outcomes based on current beliefs or past experiences. And so if your current beliefs could be wrong, or your past experiences aren't what your future experiences are going to be, then you can actually limit yourself as to what those possibilities are in your future. You'll never actually identify one of these limiting mindsets unless you're intentional and reflective, aware of what you're actually thinking when you come upon a situation where that mindset kicks in and limits you from moving forward. We need to think about what happens to us when there's a new situation, opportunity, or challenge presented to us. Your mind is probably going to scream at you to stay in your comfort zone, and all the ways that it does that could reveal what is limiting you. See, think of your comfort zone is that area between your limits that is, well, comfortable, right? It's the area that we're used to being in. We understand there's no risk. It's easy. We don't feel like we're going to be insecure or challenged. You'll never have a new reality if you don't bump up against a comfort zone. So one of the number one signals that you're bumping up against a limiting mindset is in that area where you feel insecure and you feel maybe afraid, or you wonder if you have what it takes. That's the edge of the zone that you need to push through. So being aware and reflective of our mindset and what goes on in our self-talk when we're up against a new situation is definitely one thing. So if you have the kind of person in your life that loves you but doesn't really care about impressing you all the time, then ask them, where do you see me stagnating in my life? Where do you see thought processes that are holding me back, or things that I just can't challenge to move on? And if somebody truly does love you and they're for you, then that conversation, although it might be difficult, is one that's going to move you forward. So finding those people in your life that care enough to speak the truth in areas that you need to grow. So if you're at like a family gathering or backyard barbecue and you meet somebody for the first time, pay attention to how you introduce yourself. Do you introduce yourself with what you do for a living, and has that ever really changed? You see, what I'm getting at is when we introduce ourselves to someone new, we are taking an opportunity from our mind to frame our image of ourselves in their mind. I don't know if you tracked my mental Olympics there, but what I mean by that is we probably aren't even aware of what comes out of our mouth that's our identity, that we want other people to identify us with or as, if that makes a little bit more sense. So the first thing that comes out of your mouth is going to be the thing that you think is most likely to be your identity. And if that hasn't been challenged in several years, if you don't see yourself as growing or progressing, then maybe that's a sign of what needs to change. If you jump right to your career, is that who you are, or is that what you do? If you jump right to your family, is that because they're one of the most valuable things in your life, or a hobby, or whatever it might be? It might give you some insight on what you view as part of your identity. And in that, there's something that we all need to get out of this. It's never too late to form a new identity. Now, I'm not talking about midlife crisis, totally changing everything about yourself because you think it will make you more lovable or whatever. But the point is, if you have a dream, a goal, something that you want to do, it is never too late while you are drawing breath on this earth to make a change, to take a risk, and to do something else with your life. Whenever I get into a group of people and they are constantly complaining about the level above them or somebody else, yeah, but these people or that person did this, and they're not really thinking about, well, hold on, I am solely in control of every decision that I make, everything that I value, how I spend my time, and what I do or don't do. See, a limiting mindset that removes you from that power position in your life then makes it easy to make excuses. Now, next time you catch yourself making an excuse, back up. Is that excuse really rooted in your control? Is there another way around it? Or are you just taking the easy road out because then you don't have to change? You can sneak back into that comfort zone and you're all good to go. But see, that's a limiting mindset, and that's actually going to steal from you if there is a greater experience for you on this earth. Whether it's because you're contributing to society, you're experiencing more joy, more happiness, less stress, anxiety, I don't care what it is, then every single limiting mindset that you have is actually stealing those blessings from your life today and every day from here on out until you confront that thought in your mind that prevents you from stepping into it. And almost every time it's going to be fear and insecurity. Okay, so what do I really want you to do? Well, this is going to seem kind of weird. I want you to go out and just type in limited mindset on your search engine of choice and look at the lists that pop up. Go through them with sort of a reflective thought in your heart, maybe somebody that you trust and is honest that's in your life, and talk about those things, and then make a list of maybe the top 2 or 3 mindsets that really came up that you think, oh, that's me. I need to break through that thing if I want to see, a better experience. And my wife and I went hiking about 2.5 hours away, and that first 2.5 hours was all just like this dream dump of things that I'm thinking about that we want to do that we really haven't had time to talk about. And so I want you to do that. I want you to actually do like a dream dump, whether it's with somebody you love or in a journal, and just think about all the things you really want in life. And be aware of where things are going to pop up in your head and say, oh, that's not realistic, or that's selfish. And just shut those things down. Don't worry about judging anything you write. Just write what you want. Write what you dream of. Write what you love. Write what you always pictured yourself doing. And then analyze those dreams for the things that have stopped you from doing it. So if you guys saw my welcome video to this channel, I talked about how the birth of my daughter really kicked me in the pants and made me think of all the things that I have been dreaming of doing, but yet been too fearful, too insecure to actually start. Obviously, this channel is one of them, but I can tell you this, my whole entire life, I've always kind of thought that I would be able to be a public speaker, maybe a stand-up comedian. Or maybe I shouldn't be sitting. The idea of standing in front of people and intentionally trying to be funny, or to bring across the point that maybe impacts somebody so that they think about the world differently and make a change, is what I want my life to be about. And if I was born to make a difference in just one person, then to never turn this camera on, to never plug that mic in, or ever hit that record button would be a complete loss for me, even if it was just one person. Now, I don't know what your skill is, what your dream is, what you want to put out there for people, but there's got to be something in your mindset that is limiting you from taking that first step, from actually sharing it with someone, and from making a difference. Can I speak for every single person on the planet when I say, stop it? We need you. Let's go. No limits.